Hey everyone, this is Dhruvin, and in this session we will talk about how we can use AI Builder invoice form processing with approval process in Power Apps and Power Automate. So now let's get started. Before we get started, let me give you a little bit introduction about myself. Myself Dhruvin Shah, and I am working as Power Platform Specialist and Office 365 developer in one of the reputed company at Gujarat, Ahmedabad, India. I am very active blogger and YouTuber having 120 plus articles and 320 plus tech videos. I am rewarded 3 times C# Connor MVP for my constant contribution towards the technology. You can connect me on all of my social media handles, my email, LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. So now let's get started and let me talk about the agenda for today's session. First of all, I am going to give you some overview about form processing AI model. Once we complete with the overview part, we will take some form example and we will train our model. Once our model is trained, we will publish our model. Once our model is being trained, we will use our model inside the Power Apps to scan the invoices. And once the invoices are scanned, we will insert those data to the SharePoint list. And after that, we will trigger one invoice approval flow for that. So whenever user upload any invoice, it will automatically create invoice approval process for them. And once the manager or approver approves the invoice, at that time that request is considered as to be approved. We are going to cover all of these things in detail throughout the session. So stay tuned with me throughout end of the session. Now let me get started with our first topic, that is what is form processing AI model, right? Form processing AI model allows us to read and save the information from standard documents such as invoices or text documents. When we automate this process, we can save valuable time by reviewing, extracting, organizing and saving the data automatically by using Power Automate and Power Apps. So in short, if I summarize this form processing, it is something which scans our document and extract the useful information from our form automatically. So that doesn't require any human interaction for scanning or reading the form. Now let me talk about some real life example of form processing system. Let's consider an example of invoice approval system. With the help of form processing, we can easily scan our invoices and store the data in a structured manner. We can pre-populate the fields based on our scanned data. Once we have our data with us, we can also integrate approval process for our invoices. So this type of real life example we are going to cover during this session. So we are going to upload some invoices, we are going to train our model. After that we will build our Power Apps which will scan the documents. After scanning the document, we will pre-populate the data into SharePoint list, and once the data is pre-populated, we are storing that data to the SharePoint list, and on save we are going to trigger one approval flow. Stay tuned with this end-to-end scenario. Now let me talk about some other real life example where we can use form processing. Let's say for an example, if we want to scan a rent receipt, at that time also this concept is really helpful to us. We can also automate HR interview process using this form processing. What happened here is, initially if any candidate came, they are filling one handwritten form. So what we can do is we can scan that handwritten form to our system and that will pre-populate the data in our form, right? So those type of requirement we can achieve with that. Now the third example is inquiry form scanning. Sometime what happen here is, if someone came for any inquiry in any shop, they are basically fill up one form. So those type of form we can also scan with the form processing AI model. So these are some use cases where we can use form processing concept effectively. Now let me show you one of the example that we are going to use in this session. So consider this sample example where I have one invoice where I have invoice number, its date, due date and balance due information, his bill to address and his ship to address, and these are the different line items that are being used for the purchase. And at last there is a subtotal, tax, shipping and total information. Now what I need to do is I need to scan this particular form with my form processing AI model, and based on the scanned model, based on the trained model, it will detect the field automatically from there. So now let's get started. Now before we proceed further with the development process, let me show you the demo which we are going to perform at the end of the session. So we are going to build this type of power apps at the end of the session, where we have one scanner over here and we have one form over here and we have save button over here. So let's say for an example, whenever I am uploading any of the document, any of the invoices, it is going to perform scan on those invoices, and once the model is being scanned, it will pre-populate all the information into these fields. So you can see that it has detected all the information from the form and it is pre-populating the information over here. And once we click on save, it will store that information into our SharePoint list. And once our information is being saved, it will automatically trigger one approval email for the approver. And here it is. We have received one email. The email is looking like this. It is asking for reviewing the invoice, and let's say whenever I am clicking on my invoice number, it will open that invoice item over here like this. Now as the approver, I am checking everything from here, and let's say I want to approve this item from here. So what I need to do here is I just need to click on approve, and I need to provide any reason if I want to do, otherwise we can simply submit this form. And once the form is approved, which means that that has been approved by the approver, and the invoice will be released for the payment. Once the item has been approved, it will trigger an email that your request has been approved. So this type of approval process we can perform with the help of Power Apps and Power Automate. Right? Now let me show you the step-by-step procedure for developing this particular app over here. Before we get started with the development process, let me open my presentation deck over here, and let me explain you few things that we need to consider before we proceeding for the form processing AI model. So first thing is that at this moment it only supports JPG, PNG or PDF format. If PDF are password protected, we must need to remove the lock before submitting them. File size. The combined file size of the document used for training must not be exceeding 50 MB, and the PDF document shouldn't have more than 500 pages. For images, dimension must be in between 530 x 100 and 4200 x 4200 pixel. For PDF files, dimension must be at most 17 x 17 inches corresponding to legal or A3 paper size or smaller. If scanned from the paper document, scan should be high quality image, and it should be Latin alphabet, means at this moment it only supports the English as a language. Now let's talk about some of the limitations of this AI Builder form processing model. AI Builder doesn't currently support the following type of form processing input data. Complex table. So if you have some nested tables, merge headers or cell and so on, it will not support. Checkboxes and radio buttons are not supported. Signatures are not detected. Fillable PDFs are not supported. And at this moment only supports English language. So if you have invoices other than English language, it will not support. Now it's a demo time. Now, in order to start with form processing AI model, first of all, we need to train our model. For that, what we need to do is, let me explain you that step in detail. First of all, open make.powerapps.com. Now, here you can see AI Builder section. Now, under that, you have the build option over here. Just click on that option. Now, here you have different type of AI model available. Now, click on Form Processing AI Model. Before we proceeding further, let me explain you one more thing. If you are not able to see this AI builder, which means that it doesn't support your region, or maybe you need to activate your license. To check if your region is supported AI builder, I am going to provide one link in the description box. Just check on that, so you will get an idea like if your region is supported with AI builder or not. Right? Now from here, let's click on form processing. Now here it is showing some get started procedure, example and best practices to us. So now let's check those things. So as you can see here, it is showing step by step procedure. The first step is to upload the documents. Second one is select the important areas and train your AI model. And the third step is publish and use this new AI model, right? So these are the steps that we are going to perform. Some of the example it is showing. It is showing some of the invoices like this. You can see that different type of invoices that are provided over here. Like let's say for an example, this is the invoice example. This is the mortgage statement, and this is the School of Fine Art example, right? So this type of examples we can use with our system. Then there are some best practices provided. The first best practices is use the document with the same layout. Means the whatever the document that we are going to use for the scanning, it should be having same layout but the different data. Don't use the document with the different layout in the same model. That is correct. Use the document with primarily text. Don't use example with lots of images or checkboxes. Correct? And each document should be a separate file. Don't use file containing multiple documents. Correct? So these are some consideration points that we need to keep in our mind before we proceeding for the form processing. Right? Now let me click on create button and let's create the form processing model. So first of all we need to provide the name of our model. So I am providing my form processing AI model name is form processing dev. Now we need to upload at least 5 documents with the same layout over here, right? Just click on create. So first of all it will ask us to add the document examples over here. So let's click on add documents and upload from my local storage. So I have some documents with the same layout. So I'm uploading those documents over here. Click on upload 5 documents over here. Our documents has been uploaded successfully. Now click on close. So you can see that our document has been uploaded here. Now we need to analyze our document. So select any of the document and click on analyze. So it will start to analyze your documents, and this may take a few minutes. Now our form processing model has detected some fields over here, and you can see that this dotted rectangular border around each of the field which has been detected. Now we need to add that field in our invoice. So let's click on that. This is the invoice number. Just select that. So it has added that field over here. This is the date. This is the due date. This is the balance due. And this entire thing is considered as table. Correct? Now this is subtotal. This is tax. This is shipping. And this is total. Correct? Now this has detected some wrong information. You can see that this is the name, and this field should be detected as bill to date, right? So let's consider this one like this, and now let me just rename this field as bill to date. Correct? So if something is detected wrong, we can correct it using this thing, right? So here I also have one address. Let's just drag and add that field as ship to address and just click on select. Right? Now I confirmed all the fields from here. Now let me just click on confirm fields. So we have trained our form. Now let's move over to our third form that has been detected the field like this. Here also we just need to train ship to and bill to. Right? Now same way we will go with other two documents over here. So ship to address is this one and bill to address is this one. And one last document from here. My bill to address is this one and my ship to address is this one. Right? Now once we are done, we can click on done and we can click on next. So it is showing me all the detected fields from my invoices, And now it's time to train our model. So just click on train model from here. It is going to train your model like this. Now click on go to models. So it will redirecting you to this model section. And here you can see that it is going to train our model like this. So let it to be performed properly. And here it is. My model has been trained successfully. Now click on this model. And here we have two different options, publish and quick test. So let's click on quick test. Now here we need to upload any document. So let's say here we have trained these 5 different images. Let's upload any of the images apart from this 5 images. I am uploading this image and here it is. It is detecting all the fields properly over here. Just click on start over and click on close. Now from here what we need to do here is we need to publish our model. So publishing is the most important step. If you do not publish this model, you are not going to use that particular thing into our Power Apps or Power Automate. So it is going to be published and here it is. Your model has been published successfully. Now we can use this particular thing into our Power Apps, right? So you can directly use this use model option from here, or you can create the Canvas app from scratch. But we are going to create the Canvas app from scratch. So let me show you that thing in detail. Go to the app section and from here click on new app and click on Canvas app. Select the blank Canvas app for tablet layout. So we are going to build this type of application for our app. So this has been created one blank canvas for your application. Now let's create one scrollable screen over here. And let's just give a name as invoice approval. Now let me just add elements into my data card. So first of all go to the insert menu and first of all let's add our form processor model. So we will add the form processor object from here. Go to the AI builder section and it will add the section like this. Right? Now it has added this section. Now what we need to do here is we need to connect the AI model with our form processor control. So for that just click on select model and now from here let's select form processing dev model. So it will, once the model is connected, this will look like this, right? Now let's try to scan any of the document over here. So let's me scan this document over here, so we'll get an idea like how it will look like. So you can see that all the fields detected successfully over here, right? Now what we need to do here is we need to pre-populate one form over here, right? So before we proceed further, let me show you my SharePoint list structure. I have two different lists. One is invoice list and one is invoice product list. So in invoice list, I have different field of invoices like invoice number, date, due date, bill to date, shipping address, subtotal, tax, shipping, total and approval status. And with that we are also going to capture approval date and comments by the approval. And in invoice product we are storing the line item. So what happen here is, let's say for an example, this is my invoice. So what it will do is it will show the parent items to my parent list, that is invoices, and it will store all of this line item with respect to parent ID of invoice into this invoice product list. So here I taken two different lists to store the data, right? Now let me do one thing. Let me just establish the connection for my SharePoint list over here, and after that we are going to create one form. So go to the connectors and select SharePoint. Now from here just add connection and let's provide the URL. So my URL is healthcare, and from there I need to select invoice and invoice product from here and just click on connect. So my SharePoint connection has been established successfully over here. Now what I need to do here is I need to add the form over here. In order to do that, click on insert, go to the forms and click on edit form. So that will add one form over here. Now let me just connect my data source over here. So here I am going to use invoices over here. So let me just use invoices from here, and it will show all the appropriate fields from here. And once the fields has been added, we need to make some correction in our form. So you can see that that has been added successfully. Now here I don't need this attachment control. Also I want to arrange some field like this approval status, approval date, and comments by approver are something which is not part of the form. So only these 8 fields should be here, right? Now let me just rename these fields over here, right? So in order to rename this field, once we rename this field, this will look like this. So title will be considered as invoice number, then we have date, due date, bill to date, shipping address, subtotal, tax, shipping and total, right? So this will look like this at the end. So basically you just need to rename the field and this will look like this, right? Now one more thing we need to do here. Now let's say we have added this section. Now we need to show the line item, right? In order to show line item, what we need to do here is we need to make one collection on change event of this particular invoice sample, right? In order to do that, let's select on change event, and on change event, first of all we are resetting our form. We are initializing our new form, so it will automatically open up the form, and then we are going to use one clear collect. On clear collect, this is the name of my collection, and this is the name of my form processor object. So we are storing form processor 1's table value inside the collection, and we are going to use one of the update context to show and hide the grade variable, right? So this is something that we are going to do on change event of the form processor model, right? Now what we need to do here is once we are done with that part, let's upload any of the invoice over here and let's check the thing like whether it's initialized the form properly or not, and whether it is adding the values inside the collection or not, right? So what we need to do is we are done with this part, and now let's check the collection value. So on change we have the invoice info, so let's check that collection and let's check out the value. So you can see that the line items are available here, right? So now what we need to do here is to show the line item to the end user, we are going to use one data table control over here. In order to do that, what we need to do here is just go to the insert menu, just click on this expand and select the data table. Now it add that data table over here like this, and now we need to provide the data source to our data table, that is my collection. And once we do that, we just need to add the fields from my collection. So basically I just want to show item, then its quantity, then its rate, and then its amount, and let me just add those fields to my collection, so it will add that line items over here, right? Now this is the line item thing. Now what I want to do here is I want to show the detected pre-populated fields over here in each individual field. So how can I do that? In order to do that, what we need to do here is we just need to select this field, we just need to go to the default event, and we just need to unlock our card, and let's add the default value is form processor 1 So that is the ID of my control, form processor 1 dot, what I want to have here is invoice number, right? So form processor 1 dot fields dot, it will show when you just click on it will show all the available fields over here, right? So basically I need this invoice number, so I just need to type invoice over here, right? Now same way you can see that that has been pre-populated. Now let's say I want here shipping address, so let's unlock the card and let me go to the default event. So here same way form processor 1 dot fields dot ship to address. Correct? So that is showing the ship to address to us over here. Right? Now let's proceed the everything for each individual field over here, and at the end of this thing we are able to see all the fields detected over here. We just need to go to every field and click on default item over here. So let me again scan the document. You can see here it detected all the field perfectly over here, and the same thing we have applied in all the default event over here. So let me just select all the data card here and open its default event. So you can see that invoice number is added over here. This is the date field, this is the due date field, this is bill to date, this is shipping date, shipping address, this is subtotal, this is tax, this is shipping, and this is total. So we have added default field everywhere, right? Now the important thing is save function, right? Now how to manage that? So save function will store the master detail inside the form. So we just need to use submit form, and inside that just provide the form ID, right? Now what to do for this line items, right? So once this item is added to the form, after that it will also add those line items to the child list, right? This is my child list, right? So in order to do that, what we need to do here is we just need to open the form success event from here. So in order to do that, let's do one thing. From here, let's select our form, and now let's open its on success event. So on success event, we are going to perform a loop on our code, and on that we are going to add each line item to our list, right? In order to do that, let's open form success event again. So this is the form success event. So what we are going to do here is we are going to use for all. Inside the for all, we just need to pass the collection name. So the collection that we have created, that was invoice info, and it will scan each line item and then click on patch. Patch function is something which will insert the value inside the table. So patch into which table? So I want to add the data into invoice product. So just provide the name of the list, then we want to add that as a new item. So just add this line item that's default and inside that list name. So it will perform the looping on this collection. So this item, this record dot item, same rate, this record dot rate, amount, this record dot amount, and quantity, this record dot quantity. And at last we need the last submitted ID as a title column or as a invoice ID, because the internal name is title. So here we need to provide the internal name. So form1 dot last submit dot ID, that is something which would be the last submitted item that we just submitted. So whatever the item that has been submitted over here, that has been taken as a ID over here, and it will be create the other items based on that ID, right? So this is something that is the code of the for all, right? And once the form has been submitted, we will just notify form has been submitted successfully, right? Same way you can reset your form. You just need to apply some reset code, reset form, and clear the things. And don't worry, I'm going to provide this all the code to my GitHub account. You can directly download it from there and practice more. So let me just save this form over here, and here it is. The form has been stored successfully. Now let's check the output. In invoice table, you can see that this line item, the first master data has been added. Approval status is pending by default. And let's see the line items. So you can see that for that particular invoice, the line items has been added successfully, and it is showing like this, right? Now what we need to do here is we need to trigger one approval flow whenever the new item is created to the invoices, right? For that, what we need to do, that let me explain you that thing in detail. In order to do that, we need to create one flow, one approval flow over there, right? So in order to do that, let me show you the step-by-step procedure for that. So first of all, we will add an action when a new item is created. Inside that, we will provide the list name and site address, Then we will add an action, start and wait for the approval, right? So basically for that you just need to search here start and wait for an approval. Just use this action, right? Once you add this action, it will ask for the approval type. You just need to select custom response, wait for one response. Now here we need to still add the response option item. So my response should be either approve or reject. So I just need to name as approve and second button should be reject. Right now we just need to provide title, assign to, details and item link, right? I already did that, let me show you. So we have added the response option that are approve or reject, right? In title we have added please review invoice number and then we are providing the title. Assigned to this item is assigned to the account department whose head is Dhruvin, so its email address has been, so his email address has been added here. Detail, this is created by and created on. Item link, that is link to item, and item link description, that is to be name of the title, right? So this is something that we need to configure first. Let me just remove this unwanted one from here. Once we do that, we need to initialize one variable, that is comments. So whatever the comments that we have received, we just need that filled in the string format. Then what we are going to do is whatever the responses that we'll receive, we are appending those responses to this response field, right? So the main reason is that it is only supported string format, and whenever we are adding this particular field as a outcome from here as a responses, it is automatically add one apply to each loop, and in order to remove this entire loop, we are appending that value as a string over here, and that's the main reason we have added that action over here, right? Now for status as well, we are just by default before any approval has been initiated, we are storing that value as a pending, right? Now what happen here is this action is something which will send one trigger email to the approver, right? So based on the approvals result, it will decide like whether it is approved or reject, right? So in order to do that, what we need to do here is we just need to select outcome from here. If outcome equal to approve, then it will send an approval email and it will set the variable as approved, and if the outcome is reject, it will send the rejection email and set the status as rejected. And once we are going out of this particular condition, it will update an item with the status like whatever the approval status that has been set like approved or rejected, that has been updated from here as approval status value. Then approval date is something which is set as UTC now, and comments by approver is set as that particular variable that we have taken, right? Once the item has been approved or reject, based on that it will update the SharePoint list item correspondingly, and it will automatically set its approval status, approval date and comment by the approver using the variable that we have defined status and comment, and approval date will be added as a UTC time. Now this step is optional. If my flow has been filled during the above stage, it will automatically send an email to me. In order to do that, what we need to do here is we just need to configure run after, and whenever the flow has been filled, only at that time this action will be triggered. Now let's test the entire outcome. So let me just scan my form. So I'm just scanning this form. It will pre-populate the field over here and show the line items over here. It will show all the pre-populated fields over here and showing all the line items, and now click on save. So the item has been submitted successfully over here. Now let's check the flow ran over here. So the flow is being running over here, and it automatically goes to the waiting stage to get the response from the approver. I received one email, so let me just approve that, and let me just add comment and click on submit. So it is submitting my approval. Now let's check that thing. So let me just check what response we are getting from the approval. So we are getting the approval as what would be the outcome. So user press the approve item, so it is showing approve, right? Now it goes from all the step, it goes to the condition, approve is true, right? And we are getting update list item, and it set the approval status as approved over here. So let's check that thing. This is the list, and here you can see that approved status has been added. Now let me add one more item over here, and let's check the rejection functionality. Let me add some other forms. So we have submitted this invoice, and you can see that all the fields has been pre-populated over here. Now let's hit save. So that item has been submitted, and now let's wait for starting an approval process over here. And here it is. The approval process is being started over here. Now let me just reject that thing from the email that I received. Let me click on reject and click on submit. So the item has been rejected. So let's see in outcome what we are getting. In outcome we are getting reject. So it will execute the else part and set the value as rejected, and let's check the SharePoint list item. So you can see that it has been rejected, right? So this is how the approval process with invoice scan processing will work with the help of AI Builder, Power Apps and Power Automate. Hope you enjoyed this session. So this is how form processing AI model work in Power Apps, and in additionally we can give the power using Power Automate. If you have any question related to this topic, you can add your questions in the comment section. This is the social media handles detail where you can follow me. If you are for the first time to my channel, make sure you hit subscribe and press the bell notification to never miss any updates from my channel. Stay tuned with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter and WhatsApp. If you wish to receive the daily notification about my new videos from my channel, click on this link. It will be redirecting you to this form. Fill the form and you will be receiving daily notification on your WhatsApp number. Stay connected with me. Have a great day. Goodbye.